Hammondsport, New York, the 4th of July, 1908. Glenn Curtiss straps into a fragile little biplane called the Junebug, chasing a trophy and $2,500 for the first officially witnessed flight over a kilometer in the United States. He clears it easily. Nobody official had ever bothered to time the two brothers from Ohio doing it first. This is the story of how the two men who taught the world to fly spent the next decade trying to destroy each other. 2 years earlier, Curtiss had stood in a bicycle shop in Dayton, asking Wilbur and Orville Wright an awful lot of questions. They answered some of them. In January 1908, with Curtiss now a founding member of Alexander Graham Bell's Aerial Experiment Association, the Wrights shared details of their control system on exactly one condition: experiments only, never for profit. 6 months later, Curtiss used it to win a very public trophy. 2 weeks after that, a letter arrived from Orville. Polite, specific. The Wrights, it said, had no intention of letting anyone fly their patented system for exhibitions or money. Curtiss read it and kept flying. By January 1909, he had started a company to build and sell airplanes. By August, he had sold one. The Wrights sued him, his company, and the man who bought the plane, all in one filing. A federal judge sided with them almost immediately, ruling the brothers deserved to be treated as pioneers, and their patent read as broadly as the law allowed. 6 months after that, the Wrights tried to ground a visiting French aviator at a Los Angeles air meet on that same patent. He flew anyway and took the prize money. Wilbur took the lawsuits over personally, and more or less stopped inventing anything else. Depositions, injunctions, an unimpressed German patent office ruling the whole idea was not even new. In January 1912, he wrote to a friend that he would rather be back at Kitty Hawk running experiments than sitting through one more lawsuit. 4 months later, he was dead, of typhoid, at 45. His family always believed the years of stress had worn him down first. That is a belief. Nobody has ever proven it, and nobody has ever quite disproven it either. You have probably heard how the rest of this goes. That the lawsuit dragged on so long it strangled American aviation, and that is supposedly why the United States went to war in 1917 flying French airplanes, because its own inventors were too busy suing each other to build anything. Half of that is true. America genuinely had no combat aircraft ready in April 1917. The other half falls apart the moment you check what Curtiss was actually doing. He lost his appeal in 1914. The courts had now ruled against him at every level there was, and he was never once actually stopped from building an airplane. While the case sat there unresolved, his factory in Buffalo was turning out 100 planes a month on British and Canadian war contracts, and by the time America finally joined the fight, his company was not some casualty of the lawsuit. It was the largest aircraft manufacturer in the country. The lawsuit and the factory floor running at the same time. That same year, the Smithsonian paid Curtiss to pull a dead man's failed flying machine out of storage. Samuel Langley's great aerodrome, which had crashed into the Potomac 9 days before Kitty Hawk. Curtiss rebuilt it with roughly 36 quiet improvements, floated it on pontoons, and got it briefly airborne over a lake in New York. The Smithsonian then restored it to look exactly like 1903 and put it on display as the first machine capable of flight. Orville understood precisely what that one word was doing to his court case. 2 economic historians later dug into the logjam story itself and found it does not hold up especially well. The U.S. government was already legally immune from patent lawsuits. It could not have been held up by anybody. It just needed a crisis story to justify taking the patents cheap, and in July 1917, it pooled roughly 200 aviation patents into one shared license and made the entire fight pointless. Nobody won the case. It just stopped mattering. Orville spent the next 14 years still fighting the Smithsonian over that one word. In 1928, he shipped the actual 1903 flyer to a museum in London, rather than let it sit anywhere near Langley's wreck. In 1929, the two companies that had spent a decade suing each other quietly merged into one, Curtiss-Wright. In 1942, the Smithsonian finally printed in its own annual report that the Wrights had flown first. Orville died in January 1948, still waiting. The flyer came home that December, on the 45th anniversary of Kitty Hawk. He missed it by 11 months. Next time, another famous first that was not nearly that simple.